anxious to step through the gate again, Major?
Yes, I am.
We all are.
Would you like us to bring back anything special?
No thanks.
Groceries, new outfit, flatware?
No, just yourselves in one piece, please. Dial it up. You safe.
Welcome to the Jumping Puddles podcast. Be sure to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and or YouTube. And follow us at Jumping Puddles Podcast on Tumblr and Instagram, and Jumping Pud Pod on Twitter. And if you want to support our podcast, please check out our coffee. I'm Sam, and with me are my fellow co-hosts, Tor and Ash.
Hey!
Hi! And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 18, Submersion. The Atlantis expedition explore a mobile drilling platform on the bottom of the ocean of Lantia. Their descent awakens a Wraith Queen in a nearby crashed cruiser, who will attempt anything to escape her underwater prison after 10 millennia.
Done.
Done.
Dun, dun.
Beautiful.
We were too hesitant.
Yep.
We were scared.
Yep.
But hey, we made it.
Woohoo!
We are so close to the end of the season, and we have, I think, one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So good. So fun.
Low key, top 5?
Ooh.
Of all of Stargate? Of all of Atlantis?
Atlantis. Top 7? I think top 7.
I'm thinking. I mean, I think for me, ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good. I love it.
We can just get this out of the way right now. 10 out of 10. We can just skip that rating for me. For me, we can just skip the rating. 10 out of 10.
I love that. Oh.
It's got everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect, I think, I don't even say like filler episode. It's just like a perfect like world building episode that just brings back some of the things we've been missing from the series. The Wraith are terrifying again.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So much. And they remember a lot about the Wraith as well, like what the Wraith can do, which was also really, really fun.
They have powers.
They have powers.
Again, finally.
And and then it's just like, okay, I think we get into the Wraith comedy a little later, but that they're actually, like, the queens especially, like, are just really powerful and really cool.
Their stakes, like actual, like, I mean, I feel like in the best way possible, it went from like, we can survive this to like progressively getting worse, like as time went on throughout the episode, which is great because again, there was just so much tension and it felt like a very stressful situation. We're also like technically on, you know, we're still on the planet, which is awesome. We're exploring like a new type of like, you know, place within the planet, but it's still like world building and you're still getting like all these like very familiar beats and like, oh, this is like Lantiad and all this fun stuff. So yeah, it's just a great episode. Just a great, and there's so many good character moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, genius.
So yeah, we can just get that out of the way. I'm going to be saying I love this episode, like I think every 5 minutes for sure. Take a shot. Anytime one of us says, I love this episode. Join us in a drinking game.
I think the ensembleness of this show really shines in this episode. I think this is what we were waiting for from an episode for a while, for sure.
Including
Finally.
Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yes.
Love when she gets in
Even.
on the action.
All we were missing was Carson. Rest in peace. Too soon?
A little bit. A little bit.
Fun fact.
Okay.
Sorry, but in one of the like notes about the episode, it just said Carson Beckett or Paul McGillion doesn't appear in this episode. And I was like, duh.
That just shows
He
everyone how
died.
long it's been. since
Remember?
we recorded an episode.
Like last week.
Oh boy.
Oh. Yep, we get everyone Zelenka. We get some fun new characters. Half of them die horribly.
I mean,
Those
they
damn red
gotta-
shirts.
we gotta
Yeah.
have the red shirts. Mhm.
So let's jump into it. I guess maybe we can finally start with a character we have been yelling about for every episode. Again, take a shot every time we complain about Teyla. You will be in the hospital. Let's start with Teyla because poor freaking fiend. We have a Teyla-centric episode in a way. Like, it's still very much like an ensemble, but she gets so much, and I think there's so many, like, great little character beats and little tidbits, and it's just great to see her be a character, and not just in the background and make, like, 3 comments and move on.
And being the defining character of the episode, who actually like the plot depends on, and the
Mhm.
outcome of the episode also depends on her.
Yeah, and I love when we get to explore her powers and what she can do, and what that costs her as well.
Yeah, for sure. It was so crazy to me because in the intro we get a little flashback to the
Mhm.
gift mostly. I think that was pretty much exactly 2 seasons ago. I think it was season 1, episode 18 or something.
Oh,
So
wow.
2 years ago in universe, they figured out that she has these abilities, her spidey senses, about the Wraith. And to me, it was kind of sad that all they cut together was from that episode, because after that, not a lot happened with
Yeah.
her power. I think there were like 1 or 2 other instances where she uses them. But yeah, it's not a lot. But yeah, I thought it was great that they brought that back, and that they were a little bit more aware of what it meant. And they learned even more throughout the episode, like what the Wraith Queen could do. But yeah, no, it was amazing that she got to do that again.
100%. And I don't know, I love seeing Teyla in distress, which sounds freaking awful. But again, I feel like so much of her
No.
character is sort of like this, like, oh, she's this like Zen yoga master type of aesthetic and just like vibe to her character, which is fun. But I do think it sort of backfires occasionally. Um, and she gets like boring allegations, or like people are like, oh, they overlook like her complexities. And partly it's because, I mean, mainly it's because the show just didn't put in the effort. But they put in the effort this episode, at least. Because I think it was so great to see her like genuinely like very stressed and like get progressively more bothered. And there's so many great moments that just like I think hint toward like who she really is as a character, right? I think one of my favorite aspects though was her being so desperate to like help and like pull her own weight. And I think that says so much about her character in terms of like how she was previously like a leader for her people, and how she's had to put so much on her shoulders for so many years and like take the burden and like be that rock. And so when she's taken out of that position, she feels very unnerved and like floaty, and like she's always apologizing to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth's like, you don't need to apologize, but you can't help. And it's like not registering that she can't help, because she's like, what do you mean? Like, I made this mistake, I need to fix it. There's so much guilt in there, which is so fun. And I just love seeing her in that position, because we don't ever see her that panicked and that like not in charge of a situation. So that was just exactly what I wanted. Thank you.
You're so right. It was so delicious, honestly. And I recently realized that I might be a womp enjoyer, because yes, I do like emotional womp even more. Like, damn, that is amazing. And her in this episode was exactly that. And I also want to credit the actor here, because I think Rachel's performance was so on point. It was so fantastic. All the nuances, described the distress already. And I think one scene that really stuck to my mind was after the Wraith Queen first takes her over and she doesn't remember anything, and then John finds her and they're pointing weapons at each other, and then she kind of collapses and she's like, what the hell is going on? And she's so scared and so confused. I was like, this is so amazing. Also, like, acting wise, it's like a 12 out of 10 at least. It was so good.
It's always lovely
Yeah.
to see the vulnerability of her character. I think she is a deeply feeling person, and we don't get to see that a lot because she is so strong and so in control, and she's always the one who's cleaning up everybody else's mess on her team typically. And so, yeah, it was definitely a nice treat this episode to see her run really the full gamut of emotion.
Yeah, 100%. And again, Rachel, I think this is my favorite episode of hers for sure. I
Yeah.
think she did such a good job. Just like her confusion, her fear, her sort of like snapping sometimes as well. I feel like there's a little bit of anger in there. But I also really love just how scared Teyla was of being perceived as weak, which I think says so much about just like her upbringing and like her past life before Atlantis. And also I feel like it actually ties in very well to sort of the season 1 finale, where she was not being allowed to help what's his name? The general? What the fuck is that guy's name?
Was it Everett?
Yes. Oh my god, Tor, you're right. Yeah. When General or Colonel, might have been Colonel actually. When Colonel Everett like came back and like singled her out and was like, you're not allowed to help because we don't trust you as an Athosian. I feel like that was also very prominent in this episode. Maybe not that the team doesn't trust her as an Athosian, but now they don't trust her because of these Wraith powers. So she's again being sort of isolated. And again, they had like a very, very, I'm not judging them for it, because I mean, that's a very valid concern to have. But I think it hit Teyla in a place where it became very personal for her. And she hated being perceived as like useless and like not in charge. And that's a very foreign feeling to her. So seeing her like push back at John and Elizabeth repeatedly, to the point of her like almost like self-harming in a way, where she's literally like, I don't care if I die, I just have to like help and do something, I just feel like was so delicious. And I wish we got more of that, because I think, Teyla is very much like similar to other characters. We just don't get to see that as often. But I think, especially the way where she was putting herself in danger, like first over a team or like trying to protect Atlantis, is very like a John thing to do, or like a Rodney thing to do, or a Rodney thing to do. And it's so funny when you get to see like those hints of like just how similar they all are in their beliefs and how much they care about Atlantis as a place and as a people.
Yeah, I really love how this episode shows like the depth of her character and goes, what you said, Sam, beyond the Zen alien. Always just has like a wise word for everyone, because we do see anger as well, and we do see her also being so desperate that she lies to one of her best friends and disregards an order. I was like, this is terrible. But I love that we see Teyla also doing these things, and her being like not, I don't know if I want to say not perfect, but like not, she I don't know, she's not just like the goody two shoes. She also like sometimes, because she feels so strongly that she has to help these people, that she will potentially hurt other people that are close to her because she believes it's the right thing. I think that's really great to see.
She's so stubborn.
Yeah, she
Yay! And again, like you were
Yeah.
saying, Ash, like she's not like this goody two shoes sort of figure that I think a lot of people kind of, and rightfully so, they just kind of assume of her, because she is usually the one to be like, hey guys, this is wrong, especially with the whole Michael situation. But it's fun to see her make mistakes, and she is so lucky that this didn't blow up in her face and she didn't like end up in a freaking coma or like she got mildly like knocked out, whatever. But it could have ended up so badly, but it didn't. And yeah, it was just so fun to see just a different side of her. And again, a side that we see in male characters throughout the show. And so it's nice to just finally see a woman also get to be that reckless, and it pay off in the end. Like, it wasn't like, oh, they lost and now we have to scold you because you did it wrong. You shouldn't have done that. No, like, it paid off. She literally saved everyone. Everyone's like, well, good job.
Yeah, that is crazy. And too, is it? I've seen this episode, like it's one of the episodes I rewatch at times because I love it so much. But I always forget about the twist that she's tricking the queen with like the fake memory. And I think this was the first time we realized, oh, this was actually just her fake memory. Or do we think it's like she actually just tricked the queen, or is that like a scene that they that actually happened, like the memory where they talking about, like, was this a plan that they came up together, or was this just her doing and being like, no, I'm gonna lie to the queen and not tell anyone about my plan and hope this works out?
I think it was they planned it, but I kind of like the idea more of her just doing it on her own, because I think
Yeah.
they planned it. They planned it because when the queen shows up in the Wraith cruiser, it's just John, right? And he's like the bait.
Oh, yeah.
And gives her time to kind of
Yeah.
like get, she's talking to him, and then Rodney can like shoot her behind and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like the idea more of her being like going off book and sort of planting this fake memory in her head and getting the queen over there, and that being like the thing that ends up like saving them. I really like that idea. Headcanon accepted.
Yeah, because if she did it all by herself, then it would make sense that she would, like in the scenes with Ronan and with Elizabeth just before that would make sense. Unless that was all a ruse as well, and they were like playing for the queen to believe that she was disregarding Elizabeth's order to think that she was doing that. Sorry if I don't know if I'm making any sense
No,
right now.
no. It's like no, it's okay. It's like kind of convoluted, but no, I get what you mean. And I like that idea a lot.
But you're right, because John and Rodney are waiting for her, for the queen. They must have known that she would come, so they planned it all together. Okay. But still, it's like, it's insane that she's even able to do that, because it has previously been established how powerful the queen is, and that she can, like she said, she could crush Teyla if she wanted, with her mind, and that she's able to uphold this image of this fake memory and make it believable, and not let the queen like see every part of her, but just like the parts that she wanted her to see, is like really, really, I think it really speaks to her mental strength, and that she actually maybe is learning how to cope better. And it shows that she was right in her, how she estimated her powers, I'm gonna say. Like she like she said the first time she was caught off guard that she was taking over, and then the second time she wasn't, because she was prepared and she could actually counter like the queen. That is really, it's so cool.
It's so cool. Don't tell Teyla she can't, because she can.
Yeah,
she will not
she'll
listen.
prove you wrong.
I was gonna say though, I am kind of sad we didn't get more of like a Teyla like training, progress type of like episode. Because I love her wraith control powers, and I think that would have been a really cool arc for her if she would have like maybe like found like an unlikely mentor. I mean, if they they could have done it with Michael, which would have been really fun. Instead of making him just like a super evil villain, he could have been like maybe like a morally gray type of like, I can help you, but then he betrays her or something, just some like nonsense where he's like just this reluctant ally, and maybe he could have helped her with like her mind powers or something.
Well,
or they could have got like a queen.
Because there's technically that plot point in season 4 where they're working
Yeah.
with Michael against other Wraith. So, like, they
Mhm.
could have worked together in that sense for his benefit
Yeah, instead of
and
making
their
him
benefit.
instead of making him just fucking kidnap her baby. Like, I fucking hate that plotline so much. I'm gonna be yelling about that for the next. I mean, when we get to that season and that episode, I'm just gonna be so upset.
Mhm.
Because I think they had this like really, not to bring out my Michael and Teyla weird shipper hat, or just like friend hat. I don't know, whatever hat I wear. But just I think they had such a really interesting and like unique bond, especially in that first episode where they appeared and she was like kind of his friend and she was finding it very hard to lie. So I feel like that would have been a really fun way to sort of level her up and give her like something more to do. And then also, again, like kind of bring Michael back. Not that they really needed to humanize him at that point, but maybe just like bring Michael back into the fold and into like the Atlantis' team, like Graces or whatever. That's just my wishes.
No, I understand the frustration because I feel like a lot of the times when writers have a problem or they're having trouble doing character work, particularly for a woman, the solution is always something to do with motherhood.
Yeah.
As if that's like the only direction a woman's life can lead. So yeah, your version would have been much more preferable to to me.
And I know that Rachel was pregnant, so they could have just written her out and been like, "Oh, she went off with Michael to go train for like a hot second."
Yeah.
And then when she comes back, they could have like given us scenes of them training and being her being like, "Oh, you know, in the end, we're friends now," or he betrayed me. Oh no, whatever direction they wanted to take. But
Or
yeah,
make her
just
like
something other than
the Todd to, like, he could have been the
Yeah.
Todd to her John or whatever.
yeah. They're the OGs technically, because
Mhm.
Michael is in season 2, and then Todd is in season 3. But yeah,
There you go.
yeah, they could have been. I mourn that relationship or that dynamic so hard because I just think it was really interesting. But we can talk about another interesting dynamic because we finally, fucking finally, get some really good Teylabeth stuff.
Heck yeah.
I wonder why I love this episode so much. It is so good. I love everything about them. I don't even know where to start. But there's a fun fact that I found out while preparing for this episode, which is that it's probably my favorite Teylabeth conversation. It's when it's just the two of them. They're in this like room, and Teyla's like, "Oh, do you think? Do you not trust me? Do you think she's still like possessing me right now?" And Elizabeth is like, "No." That whole scene wasn't in the original script. It was added later because the episode was short. And I'm like, thank God the episode was short. Otherwise, I would have missed this beautiful scene between these two women.
Huh.
That's insane because that is such like, I think, a key part of the episode. I actually like cannot imagine that episode without that scene. That's wild. But no, there's so many good. I mean, not just like Teylabeth, but again, also just like Teyla scenes and just like Elizabeth as well, and just like them talking as like again platonic or romantic, like whatever way. It's just like everything about them two. I feel like was just on display in this episode, which was really fun. Just because we again don't really see it that often, and I think it was a really fun like contrast to again last week's episode where we get like a little more of like a fun side of them that we like literally never fucking see. And then in this episode they kind of go back to like their regular sort of like angsty like I'm here for you talks, which are really fun. I think one of my favorite just like little things that happen between them is when Teyla's first been taken over by the Wraith, and then she kind of comes out of it, and Elizabeth like storms in, kind of, and is like really much like, "What the heck is happening?" And just Teyla's first reaction is just like apologize, and I felt so bad for her, like you know, to apologize, but she's so like already just so guilty, like no one's even died yet, and she's like, "I fucked up," and just Elizabeth reassuring her and just being like, no, it's not your fault. And then throughout the whole episode, Elizabeth reassuring her, be like, it's not your fault. And like, we trust you and stuff, but like, I still can't put you, on the front lines or whatever. And so just that whole aspect was so fun.
And I like those conversations too, because I feel like it adds extra motivation for Teyla as well, because she has this like personal relationship. It's not only like her pride or, it's like for Elizabeth's sake as well. She wants to prove like she's in control and she can do it,
Yeah, I think it really shows like the personal connection that they have.
Yeah.
And that they, like, she doesn't want to disappoint Elizabeth. She would be really hurt if she wasn't trusted by Elizabeth, and all that. I think that really like shows the connection that they have, which I love, obviously. And I think they seem so on one level in a way, like, I don't know, emotionally or whatever. And still, like, Elizabeth is still her boss, and she's telling her, hey, no, I don't want you to do that. I don't feel comfortable with that, and or it's dangerous for yourself or for others. Again, echoing kinda what happened in The Gift, where Elizabeth was like, no, I can't let her go through with this. It's too terrible, too painful for her. So Elizabeth is also like, she wants to protect Teyla in that way, which I really, really love. That she's so worried for her well-being. She's like, no, I'm not putting you in danger. And not just you, but also others potentially. So I thought that was also a really, really nice aspect, that the protectiveness there.
Yeah, and it's so much more personal and loving that it's coming from Elizabeth's character. Because I think if it was one of the boys, it's almost like, maybe not purposefully, but it's almost patriarchal, or like almost like kind of not again on purpose, but like condescending-y, like, oh, we have to protect you. But like when it comes from Elizabeth, the respect for Teyla's strength is there. Like, you're not questioning why Elizabeth is saying those things.
And I think it's so fun too, because I think we've talked about it in detail before, where the roles are like almost flipped, where Teyla is usually sort of like the one that Elizabeth leans on. And again, they have all these conversations where Teyla is giving the advice and Elizabeth is listening. And so I think it's really, I love the role reversal of this episode. Elizabeth is the one to step up and take care of Teyla and kind of like let her get some of the burden off her shoulders, and sort of being the one to like pull her back and being the one to like be protective over Teyla, which is this is just, I love this episode.
And I also just love the appreciation that Elizabeth has for Teyla and for her powers, like in the last scene. I wonder if that scene was added as well later on. That last scene of them all coming back together and being like, oh, we made it, yay. And then Rodney and Elizabeth going off to work, and the others just like taking a nap, which I love. Also, this episode, it gave kind of team vibes, but also poly vibes, I feel like. I thought they were really, really strong in this episode. And
everyone's a little too close.
Yeah, right? Like, I love, like, I mean, they were in a closed space, so it makes sense, but like, that's good stuff. No, but I love that Elizabeth is just like, hey, this is really impressive that you were able to trick a Wraith Queen even after like everything that happens. And I like that she verbalizes that. And also it's that shot of them just sitting on the bed and both like Elizabeth in her t-shirt and Teyla in her tank top. My God, it is I really appreciate that shot. It's really good.
Visually
hot.
very stunning scene. I love when the guns are out.
Incredible. Incredible.
But I also just really like the colors of this whole episode too.
Mhm.
Of that scene in particular,
Right.
but yeah, of
The
everything, really.
blues.
It's
The mix of blues is
beautiful.
beautiful, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last episode or that last scene is so cute. I love like Rodney and Elizabeth just like being nerds and like just immediately being like, yeah, let's get back to work, and they're so excited. And then the three are like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna collapse. Which is so funny because Joe and Jason were way too big for those freaking beds. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Where Joe had like his knees up when he was laying down, or like so he, you know, he couldn't stretch out, and I just thought that was so funny because I'm like, girl, you do not fit. I'm like, they're too tall.
That keeps happening in Atlantis.
Mhm.
It's almost as if the ancients all were like smaller, but when we see the ancients, they're not. So why are the beds so tiny?
Designed
Do they
for
hate
maximum uncomfortability. There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No time to sleep.
No, get up.
Want to cuddle?
Like no hanky-panky
None.
allowed.
No.
They're like twin bed for you, twin bed for you.
Bunk
No one
beds.
fits. Yeah, bunk beds.
Beds.
They're like,
the best.
do not. There are no condoms available.
We want no children's on this place.
Loki, they were onto something.
Yeah.
They kind of cooked with that. But
Adults only.
yeah.
They probably had a device that was kind of giving off some radiation or something, and then they realized they did something else as well.
Give me some of their birth control. I know their birth control must go crazy. That's some good shit. That's like 2 years, you're covered. One pill.
We
The
can only
dream.
dream.
I was gonna say though, I know we've talked about so much of like the heavier stuff with Teyla, but I do think this episode balances tone really well. And I just wanted to point out, I love some of these little scenes that I take as very humorous. Mainly 5-2 Teyla beating the shit out of Ronan was so pleasing to me. I just thought that was so funny. She's so small. And I just think, side note, I get so upset whenever I see Rachel fight because she's so good in it. And I'm like, I don't understand why she doesn't have more. Like, she's genuinely the best. And I think because of her proportions as well, it like looks so fluid. I'm sure she has like previous like background in something with like the arts or something, like dancing.
She's
or
a
something. Just because I
dancer.
feel, there you go. Just because I feel like there's a level of like familiarity that none of the boys have. And so it gets me so upset, and I get so happy every time I see her fight scenes because she's just so fucking good at them. But yeah, seeing 5'2" Teyla beat the shit out of Ronan was really funny.
That whole scene that precedes that one is so weird because you like, if you haven't figured it out at that point, you notice something is weird about Teyla and the way she talks, and then goes up to Ronan and touches his shoulder, being like, I don't remember what she says, and then just like, damn, kneeing him or whatever she did, but like, that really hurt. It was great. And then even after he fell, she just kept kicking him. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's getting out some anger.
Also, the scene in the beginning, which I think is so funny, of her going up to Rodney and being like, shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
One
So
of my favorite
cute.
scenes ever.
That's
I
family
think
right there.
did you give that recently? Or like a while ago?
I might have. I don't remember.
Because I saw it around on Tumblr, or maybe I just wanted to see it because it is so great. I feel like the layers to this scene, to that moment, are also huge. But because like, how the hell does she know about shotgun? Like somebody must have told her
Mhm.
and explained the concept to her. And but also the fact that Rodney accepts it and he's like, all right, I hate you, but I gotta go move back there with all those scientists. It's great. It's just fantastic. But the whole car scene, no, the whole jumper scene in the
Yeah.
beginning is
So
so fantastic. I absolutely, the shotgun, then Elizabeth just drifting off. I love that she has like she's a passenger princess.
Yeah.
But she's just, nobody's fighting for her spot.
Mm-mm.
It's clear that that's hers. And her just chilling up there while in the back they're just all suffering. And Rodney and the name thing again. And then Rodney is Lenka and Ronan kind of telling each other to
Yeah.
shut up. And Ronan from the front. I mean, also the way it was shot, it was so great. Like you really felt like the family vacation van
Yeah.
times. You felt it. It was exactly that. I fucking love it. It is such a great start into the episode.
John very much utilizing his Jack O'Neill sort of impression when he's like, "We're here, kids," or something like that. Oh my god, it was really cute.
Yeah.
It just made me realize, like, we were robbed Ronan, Zelenka, and Rodney things. Like, I feel like them three and, like, a zany off-world adventure, or even, like, on Atlantis would be just so fun.
Ronan would have literally put a gun to his head after like 3 hours.
No, same.
And then someone would have been
I
like
was thinking
attacking
the same.
them, and he would have to be like, "Oh fuck, okay, gotta go save them."
Mhm.
But he'd been like so
Yeah.
close, like, "I'm gonna do it, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah. He would walk around with his gun like on stun and just being like, if you don't shut up, I will like I can flip the switch. Please. Yeah.
At some point, he just ties them together.
Which makes it worse because then they
Mhm.
just complain. But he can walk away at least. But yeah.
He's got them on a child leash.
Truly.
Also, Ronan had some like really great like comedic moment. Again, like this episode is obviously like very like horror themed, which is again
Yeah.
side note amazing. Loved it. Love this episode so much. But like there's some of my favorite Ronan lines. His "I missed" is so fucking good. Ash almost choked.
Yo, I almost spit out my tea. Damn it. No. That hilarious. That was his "I missed" and then John's "I noticed." Do you think he really missed? Or did he do that
No,
on
it was
purpose?
John's fault. It was literally John's fault. I was gonna be like, no, it was because I was like, again, screen recording the scene, so I like noticed that when John's like, being mind controlled, he looks over at Ronan, and like he notices him, and the queen's like, oh shit, someone's there, so she turns around, and then Ronan, when he shoots, he hits the window instead of her because she turned around. I was like, John, that was your fault.
Mhm.
Be sneakier.
He messed up.
Mhm.
No, he fucked
He
up.
messed up.
Yeah, Ronan was just such a vibe this episode. He was just pissed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then he was like there for Teyla and defending her. And he was pissed again. And then he missed. And then him and John were like so in sync and just so like, you go there, I go there, like just taking shit down together. I also love ooh, we got some Ronan and Elizabeth crumbs.
Ooh.
I was eating
Oh,
that
yeah.
shit up. We got some good ones. We got the be careful. No kidding. He's so silly. And then my favorite one though is when the Wraith gets real up close to Elizabeth.
Oh
And he
yeah.
like basically tackling her and like gun in the. He's so like the don't touch him / her type of boyfriend. He's so protective of like his whole team. It's
So good.
Yeah. He goes feral at that point. I really, really loved it.
pissed.
Yeah, like his combined like hate for Wraith and protectiveness of his friends slash lovers is just it's so good. It's so beautiful.
That's a great scene for Elizabeth too, because you could see her like genuinely very like rattled by it, and then she has to be like, calm down, take it again, don't let it get to you, get back up there. You need to get this information. I loved seeing that, seeing her like genuinely afraid for like a moment, and then having to just get back out there.
Yeah, I agree. Also, the way that they tied the Wraith up was so bad. Like, I just kept thinking about it. Like, there must have been better ways to do that.
Yeah,
True.
But again, in a weird way, this is like a very like Teyla-centric episode. So like, we get some really good, like really sweet like Teyla-Rodney scenes where, he's so protective and like just trusts her so completely. And then when she beats him up, he's like, what the he's like, what happened? Like he's so confused. And yet the whole time he's just like ready to stand by his crew. But I also really loved the Teyla&Rodney stuff. To the point where I'm actually really mad they didn't get like a little scene at the end together or something. I think a quick little moment of them sort of like reconciling would have been really nice. But again, starting from the beginning, we get the funny little shotgun scene, which again, he just gives up his seat for her, even though he's not happy about it, which is so sweet. And then when he's literally, refusing to believe her and choosing his technology over the lady with supernatural powers, which is so silly to me. And then later, in the episode, he literally says, I should have listened to Teyla, I think. Yeah, he said, I should have listened to Teyla. And I was so upset that he doesn't, I think he says to Zlenka, and I was like, I just missed a scene of him saying it to Teyla and like him, in a way, like apologizing. Because it wasn't that big of a deal, but I think the fact that, he wasn't trusting her in the beginning, which is so silly to me, and the fact that he was proven wrong and stuff. So I think that was a really fun part of, their dynamic, which we never really get to see that often. So.
Isn't there also a scene where because they don't really interact with each other after that, I think, but isn't there also a scene where he like asks about her? Is like, oh, is she okay or something?
Yeah, I think,
and Elizabeth is like
that.
I thought that was really sweet that because he's like, oh, is Teyla right? And Elizabeth says, I think it's been harder on her that she cares to admit or something. I thought, oh,
yeah,
this is so sweet that he cares.
Yeah, especially in the situation where like you expect Rodney to be a bit more selfish because like the mortal peril of it, for him to be considering Teyla is really sweet.
Yeah. This makes me sad we didn't get to see more of them, obviously. And I will say, not to get into this again, but I loved every dynamic except for the Teyla and John.
Oh no! Spill the tea.
Let me see, because I wrote it down because I was like, okay. So I know John's being a little jokey sometimes this episode, but when he like unintentionally calls her crazy, and he apologizes, I think, but he like, kind of calls her crazy, I was like a little annoyed. Not because he called her crazy, but just because like 2 minutes later, or like a second, or a minute later, whatever, he's like flirting with Elizabeth. I was like, not the romance that you're pushing. He's calling her crazy and being like, you can't do this, and then he's turning around and like flirting with another woman. I was just like, okay. So don't love that.
Dog behavior. Time and place.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I just feel like I definitely think he was serious for like certain scenes, and like I love the balance of comedy, but I feel like sometimes with his scenes with Teyla, they were just like a bit, maybe like a little more like jokey than I think he would have been in this scenario if it was like someone he was like, I don't know, I wanted more concern, I think. Maybe that's not his like the way he shows his concern, but there's another part where he says that does not sound like Teyla, I think, when she's like being taken over at one point. He's like, that doesn't sound like Teyla. And I was like, girl, no shit. I was like, I'm gonna need you to lock in a little more. Like, I need you to be freaking out, screaming, not screaming, but just being more worried. I feel like he was a little too nonchalant when it came to like some of the stuff with Teyla versus I think he would not have been as chill if it was like Rodney or Ronan or even like Elizabeth. Like he would have been so much more upset and so much more bothered. So that was irritating.
One scene that I thought was hilarious though was when it's the first time Teyla is trying to connect with the Wraith, and he's like, oh, and what about like the other precaution? And Ronan is like, no, I got it, with his weapon. And Teyla, she had just closed her eyes, opens them again, and just has like the most perfect eye roll.
Yeah.
I love it. I thought it was great. And then he apologizes, but that's maybe one of those parts where you thought, oh, that's too comedic right now. But I thought in that case it really fit.
Yeah. No, I think that one was fine. That's why I didn't mention that one because I do love his little like sorry. Like that one's really cute. And Elizabeth or Teyla opening her eyes and being like annoyed. I just think the other times where I was a little more like be more concerned or like
Yeah.
if this again looking at it from the romance angle, like I'm not if it was just like oh they're friends, I'd be like oh yeah those scenes are fine. But I'm looking at it like I constantly try to look at it from a romance angle because that's what the show is trying to tell us they are. So when I look at that from a romance angle, I'm like, you're lying to me because he's Kiki King over here and like being totally chill versus he wouldn't be. He shouldn't have been in this scenario. He should have been like very worried or
he should have been like Elizabeth
he was
in
a
this
little
situation.
Yeah.
Elizabeth was more of a romantic interest in this episode for Teyla. Literally anyone else was more of a romantic interest than freaking John.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, and I feel like they try to balance his like weirdo-ness with like his care for his friends and teammates, and I think the balance was struck really well in Sunday at the end there of the episode, like the emotional unavailability but like still trying to be there for everybody. It just didn't hit quite right in this situation.
Yeah, definitely like a really great episode for other characters, but I wouldn't say this is like if I had to like single out, I would say this is maybe not the strongest like John episode.
No.
But not that it needs to be. Again, he doesn't have to be like the best character of every episode. But definitely there was some moments where I was like, I would have liked him to have responded in a different way, perhaps.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like him and Elizabeth were being like a little flirty this episode, which is totally fine. I love their dynamic. It was really cute and stuff. I love seeing them like banter. And then when she was like either way or like other way or whatever, they were being cute. And I was like, that's not your romantic interest. No, that's what you tell us.
Yeah.
I think that scene is one of like the core scene for the Sparky shippers, because he's immediately like, oh, Elizabeth, you're with me. And then she's all like, she's so happy to be like out of her office the whole time. She's so excited to be doing stuff, to be exploring, to be like being put to work. It was so cute. And that is one of the instances where she's like, I feel like she's almost skipping all over the place. Just being happy to do something other than sitting in her office.
No, they were cute. And again, I love seeing those sides of Elizabeth as well. Like she was super happy. And even in the beginning too, when she's like kind of spacing out and she was just like in, thinking about other things on the jumper and John's trying to talk to her and she's like, what? Like, I don't know. I think that was so adorable that she can like kind of let loose around him and kind of like let him, take over and like lead the way, and she can kind of like relax for a second before like she has to like kind of jump back into being like the leader and stuff. So yeah, they were really cute this episode as well. I just really want to circle back to though, if we haven't emphasized it enough, I'm going to emphasize it again. I love the direction of this episode. Not like the writing was obviously fantastic, but the direction I just feel like really highlighted some of what I think is the core of what Atlantis should be. Right? Like, again, I think earlier we were talking about it off the air, but Tor was saying something about like, oh, water, or like it's a water episode, or they remembered their water show, love whenever they're in the water. second, like the horror. I feel like the horror was such an important part of the pilot episode, which is why the pilot is still one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode. And so it's really great to see them sort of return back to their roots in multiple ways as well. You know, we mentioned that the Wraith actually used their powers and they stop John in the beginning, or the Wraith Queen like stops him from shooting her, and she like forces him to give up his gun, and like he gets down on his knee and she's like, you know, about to mind control him or like, you know, compel him. That was really great. And there's just so many iconic, I feel like, scenes that I use all the time in like my aesthetic edits or whatever. Primarily the one of the Wraith sort of coming up from the water. I love that scene so freaking much. I think it's so excellent. And then again, when John is in the jumper and he turns the body and it's the skeleton basically, or the, you know, rotting whatever corpse of the guy that, you know, was literally calling out for him kind of, or like was, you know, he was looking for him, and he like senses something and he turns around and then the Wraith is just in the middle of the jumper. Just so many great scenes as well. There's a really cool scene. I was like, I wonder if this is handheld. So when Teyla's sort of like trying to connect with the Wraith for the first time, she's like, you know, sitting and the camera goes sort of around her while, you know, the team is also like standing in front. So you get like a really fun scene of like her sort of almost like transitioning into the Wraith, which is really cool. So yeah, I don't know. I was just obsessed with like so many of the details in this episode are so well done. And I think it just really, the writing and the direction just go hand in hand. And that's part of the reason why it's just such a favorite episode of mine.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's beautiful. And I think I also like the exterior shots of the station, and
Yeah.
especially the one, because I feel like, so if you're watching it on DVD, the quality is not as great. I think the first few times I always missed it, but there's one shot where obviously you can see the queen swimming towards, it's in one of the flashbacks towards I think that is such an amazing shot, just like of like, because like you're like, I don't know how many miles under the sea, and there's someone swimming over there, and it's creepy. And I think that is one of my favorite exterior shots, but also like everything on the station. I think we already said it, but I think the light, or like just the color scheme of this episode is so beautiful with the blue, like especially like with the dark blue. And I feel like season 3 is kind of stands out to me in terms of like color use. Also, I think especially Submersion and Echoes.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are like, when I think of Atlantis and like beautiful Atlantis shots, like lighting, those are the two that come to mind for me, because I think they really stand out in that aspect. And also, yeah, the horror. I'm not a huge horror fan, but I like it when Atlantis does it. And even they have like a little bit like jump scares, and also the way they use like sound effect as well. It worked really, really well in that case, and it really made the Wraith scary again. I also like that we saw like a little bit different side of the Wraith, because usually we see them in space, but this time we see them in water, and she's like, her makeup is like this blue-green insane makeup. It looks really cool. She looks really creepy, really gross as well. I thought it was all as you said, everything seemed to work together in this episode.
Also, that scene in the jumper where Ronan misses and it floods.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, good.
I was like,
Fun
wait,
fact.
did they actually?
Yes, they did actually.
What?
It's that scene. It's a meld of practical and visual effects.
Huh.
So they actually did have like a tank of water that they dumped there, with like gallons of water, and with stunt people sitting there, and then they overlaid the stunt people's faces with like the actors' faces with like VisFX, like in the after production,
Wow.
post production, and so again, speaking about working together, like practical effects and VisFX. If you do that, you get really, really good results that hold up until today. Because like, yes, they actually, like, there was like gallons of water just shooting down, and whooping them away. So you have like practical effect, you have stunt, you have costume that stands up to all of that, and then in the post-production you also have VisFX who enhance on the practical effects.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I was gonna
Damn.
ask you because I was like, oh, I wanted to know for sure. Because when I had, when I was watching it, I was like slowing it down a little bit, and I was like rewatching that scene. I was like, is that? I was like, I couldn't tell because like the water looked so real at one point. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like what the heck? Like this is like either like a really fucking good CGI or they like mixed it. But that is so cool. I didn't know that it was like stunt people and they like
Yeah.
imaged the actors, appearances over the bodies. That is
Smart.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks
Yeah.
so like it looks great.
Yeah. And I could go into a rant about like what that like is in comparison to today, where everything is just done with CGI and
Yeah.
VisFX afterwards, which is absolutely, it is an art, but it is so much better if you use all that to enhance on something that's already there. I have another fun fact about the exact same thing. And it's a scene where Ronan runs into the force field. That's also a mix between practical and VisFX because they had like a sheet of cellophane that he just ran into. So his face actually got like there's actually a picture on Gate World where you can see it. And then they overlaid it a little bit with VisFX later on.
Wow, that one is so cool. I didn't even pick up on that one. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's some like really kind of like funny, not funny, but like physical things in this episode, especially with like, like Teyla sort of like her whole body sort of like reacting
Yeah.
to like, being possessed, and also like I was gonna mention Ronan, like when I think he runs into it like twice or maybe once, but he like runs into it and he kind of like falls backwards like pretty
Mhm.
far, and I was like, oh wow, like that's a really fun just bit of like physical acting. So that's
Yeah.
so fun.
It is so fun.
Really quick, because I know we're nearing the end, I just wanted to talk about Rodney in this episode because he didn't do a whole lot and he was isolated, I think, from the main team like quite a bit. But I think he's I felt I don't know, it just how many people do you think have died under Rodney's watch?
A lot. I think that's just the nature of like, well, to be fair, a lot of military dudes died too. But
I was gonna say.
I think it's just the nature of like being a scientist on a sci-fi show. Like you are the literal cannon fodder of the franchise and you will be the first to die in every scenario.
It's just so funny because I feel like it's always happening like specifically to Rodney, and I know why. Probably because the military guys like die in like different ways, or like all on missions, whatever. It's a bit more like in action, like they're hurt, whatever. But the
Right.
science people usually die in like these really gruesome ways, where like someone accidentally touches something, or again they go off on their own because Rodney sent them, and then they die horribly. But I was like, this is always happening to Rodney specifically. I was like cracking up a little bit.
Terrible. Like radiation sickness and then like radiation induced exploding tumors and all this terrible nightmare fuel.
The computer killing the virus, killing the dude.
Yeah, like just bad. Just not good. I feel bad for Rodney in the sense like you must feel really guilty and terrible. Because as a scientist in charge of other scientists, I don't think you expect there to be so like many people dying under you versus like John's job, like being head of the military, like that's just to be expected. Like people are gonna die. You're dealing with like fighting and like firearms and stuff. So very different beast. Poor Rodney.
I was gonna say that trauma. I know they sort of like briefly touched upon it in season 1 where he's like going to therapy, and that's I assume I feel like he would be talking about that. But oh my god, I feel like sometimes I think about how many people have died technically like under, not under his like care, because I mean again, some of these deaths were like, okay, what the hell is he supposed to do, right? But it's just like it must suck to like watch every year your team just be decimated by things that like maybe, they could have or you could have prevented, or they could have also prevented if they had just like stuck to the rules, don't touch anything, or stay close, or just whatever. But I felt so bad for him. I also have to say I really liked those two scientists. I thought they were kind of funny. Um so I was sad that they got decimated. And I also want to say a really underrated, I think, um like horror aspect was the fact that the guy was like calling one of the scientists was like calling out for John in his last moments, being like, save me, and like John could literally not do anything because the force fields were up. And then later he finds out that like the queen was actually like baiting him and like using like that guy's voice to like lure John. I was like, this would send me into like psychosis actually. I was like, this is so scary.
I thought it was I really liked the supporting cast in this episode, and I think that is the one point where I'm like, okay, I think they could have done if they had more time, if this had been a double episode, for example, or like a two-parter, then they could have expanded on that a little bit more, being the supporting cast, because I really liked them. I thought there were some, like, again, we had in the beginning, we had like a lot of them being introduced, and it took a lot of time to introduce Graydon with a D, and then he died. But also like the other characters whose names I already forgot again. I wish we had more time with them, because I thought it was really strong and it kind of brought life to this expedition, and it showed that there are more than just a core. There are more people than just a core team. And Zelenka and Lauren and well, Carson not anymore. Sorry, it's not funny, but it is a little bit because we know he's coming back.
Don't remind me.
So I thought it was great to bring them in, but I thought they kind of disappeared a little throughout the episode, because there were much more. There were like, I feel like 10 of them, okay, probably 5 or 6 of them on the jumper, and then only 3 of them got to talk, which was okay. But I wish there had been a tiny bit more with them, or maybe they do pop up in like other episodes, but I don't remember that.
Actually, when you were saying like, it could have been expanded if it was a two-parter. Like, whoa, I never thought of this one being a two-parter, but this one would have been so good. Like, imagine if like the cliffhanger was that they were like stuck and like the jumper had like flown out to sea, and like they couldn't, call Atlantis. So they were literally just stuck. And then part 2 could have been like the whole bomb thing. That would have been so good.
Yeah, or they're stuck and they know the bomb is going off, and then they have to solve it, and then in the next episode. Yeah,
it's such a nice.
I literally only. Damn, that never happens.
I know, all 3.
I was just gonna say, it's such a nice callback to like the isolation of season 1, in the sense where like you have like the survival aspect, and you have like no Daedalus ex machina happening either. So it's just, and the horror aspect. So like all the best parts of season 1 in like the penultimate episode for the finale of season 3 is really good.
100%. It's definitely why we love this episode so much, I think. Because it's such a return to form in a way that, is so shocking, because it's like they just pull this episode out of their ass and then they never do it again. It's like, oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But also, I was gonna say, I was like, wow, that would have been so fun if we could have gotten like more of like Teyla being possessed for like a longer period too. And maybe like her like sabotaging for like the first half of the episode of like, her, the team not realizing for quite a while, because like the queen is like that good at just like puppeteering and like
Could have been
mimicking.
like an Among Us
Yes.
type of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm devastated. That would have been so fun. It's okay. This episode is still amazing.
It is. It really is. And I kept wondering because the only thing that I thought about this, like it being a two-parter, was literally because of the supporting cast, where I was like, I want to see more of those guys. But yeah, but then I was like, would this improve the episode or make it worse? Because I think another thing that was really great in this episode was the tension. It really like worked out from start to finish. It was perfect. I think we kind of come full circle because, well, not completely, but we start with like the jumper and being kind of like with the humor, and then we end in a also really relaxed way. So it has a really, I think it has a really nice arc. But yeah, I think that there would be a possibility for a two-parter here. I have one thing that I realized. And I thought, oh, this might be a fun thing to explore in like fan fiction or something. But what I realized is that so the Wraith Queen has been there for 10,000 years. You know who else has been on Atlantis for 10,000 years? So I'm thinking, what if, because they say she was too deep to come up, but what if she hasn't? What if she would have been able to come to the surface, but not able to leave Atlantis for some reason, or for like find a ship, or maybe the gate is working and okay, it's already falling apart. But I think it would have been fun to have like her and the old Elizabeth interact in some way, and maybe even like in my head I was like, what if they became friends for some reason? Because why not? It would have been fun.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah,
Girl, everyone has like a little pet wraith that they're like BFFs with.
right.
Like Todd
So
and
Elizabeth,
John, Teyla and
yeah.
Michael. I think Elizabeth
Yeah.
deserves one.
Yeah, exactly. It could be okay. I'm just spitballing, but what if, like, in one of the times that Elizabeth wakes up to like rotate the PMs, she does like a sweep, like a sensor sweep, and she sees a life sign. And she's like, "Oh shit!" And it happens to be at the same time that the wraith is awake and is coming to the surface, and she's like, "Oh crap! I can't let this wraith like find Atlantis." Wait, Atlantis is submerged at that point, right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So she could have just swam over and not have to go up to the top. And that could have been a thing, because then again, she still can't go to the top, but she's with
Yeah.
Elizabeth. They have to like
Oh,
share a space.
it makes sense.
I think you need to write it. I think you need to write it.
I'm not strong on plot, but it would be like, I think it would be a really fun idea to just have them interact. And like obviously the reason why the Wraith then stays on Atlantis is because Elizabeth is like disabling the gate because she can't let her leave, right? Because then she would Atlantis would have been discovered. But yeah, I thought that was a fun thought.
Okay. Well, let's head on over to Ash for the Bechdel test.
Guys, actually, I wrote down win and I went pass, but like this episode passes with flying colors.
Yay!
Like excellent. I think the whole scene, like the one that I was talking about earlier, one of my favorite scenes that was added later, I think they don't mention a man in that whole thing.
Woo!
I was gonna say, because I think that's like a big part of the Bechdel test that we and sometimes other people forget as well. It's like you cannot be talking about a man. And last week we kind of, we got away with it a little bit because they were talking kind of, and then they're also talking about lunch and shit. But
yeah,
this one we're like, nope. This one passes with flying colors, no question about it.
Yeah, I'm being really, really generous about the passes I give out, by the way. So if because if they have like lines back to back where they talk to each other but not about a man, I give them a pass, even if it's not a whole conversation. But if I did that, I think this might be the only episode that passes, or like there are maybe like 2 or 3 others that will pass. But I'm being really, really nice with the Bechdel test. But this one, no question. Excellent.
I love that. Because I mean, even if you're still being nice, I feel like still less than half the episodes like make it a season. I would say
Yeah.
maybe about half.
Yeah.
If we're being really generous. So let's stay hopeful. Let's pretend that you're being really harsh.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then I guess we can just stay with you for the behind the scenes.
Yes. So this episode was directed by Brenton Spencer, and he also directed season 2 episodes in season 5, The Queen and Inquisition, and otherwise he's the director of photography in a bunch of episodes in season 1 through 2, 3. Yeah, so this is his first directing credit on Atlantis.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Sorry. I just think
No.
I mean, the fact that like he's like director of photography, I think is really cool. And then I feel like when I was watching the episode, I was like, this feels like a new person. And like, it felt like there was someone new. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was really excited to bring that up because you mentioned it earlier. I was like, yes, there might be a reason for that.
I love that.
Yeah. And this episode was written by Ken Kuperus, who was nicknamed Copernicus after Robert Davey mispronounced his name. And it's his third and last writing credit on Atlantis. His other episodes were Common Ground and The Ark.
Hey!
Wait!
Okay. Fun Wraith episodes.
Yeah.
Wait, really good Wraith episodes. Hold on. And I also was like wondering, I was like, is someone new? I'm like, who wrote this episode? Like, it's really good. So that's kind of unsurprising.
Yeah. No, I'm sad he only got 3 writing credits, but I'm glad we got the ones that we got.
Copernicus is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Queen was, of course, portrayed by our resident Wraith Queen actress, Andy Frizzell. I think she played all the Wraith Queen or female Wraith up till now. She's amazing. I love her. And they tried to make her look a little bit more aquatic, probably to keep with the underwater theme of the story, which I thought was a great detail. Also about her, so apparently she couldn't swim. But she still had the scene in the tank. And she actually, I just thought it was cool because I was thinking, did they actually have her submerged and then emerge? Or did they shoot it in reverse? Because I know that they did it before, but no, she actually came just up from under the water, and they just had her in there. And then they tapped the tank, and that was her cue to come up. And they had to get it also in one shot, because after that, her makeup was just ruined for the day. And we know that the Wraith makeup takes hours and hours to put on. So they had one shot.
Oh, that's intense.
Oh, they killed it. That is crazy, though, because it's not like she comes up and it's fast. She literally slowly emerges, and I feel like you have to get the timing right on that too. Wow, that is so crazy.
Very crazy.
Yeah. I really like that detail.
Excellent job.
And keeping with the Wraith Queen for a second, the history of her is, by the way, her name is Cold Amber.
Okay.
Wraith names, yay! But her story is, her history is explored in the Atlantis Legacy series, so in a book series, where it's revealed that she's the original Queen Death, whose mantle the new Queen Death takes up. So probably you need to know more about what's going on in the book. But she was Queen Death. That is a That is a baller name.
Yeah.
But and that's the, or it seems to be like a title or something.
Huh.
That's really cool. And it's also revealed that Cold Amber was responsible for the destruction of the Athosian city of Image, I don't know,
Ooh.
seen in Rising.
Oh. Oh shit.
Wait, that kind of
So-
adds like so much to the whole Teyla and her beef.
Yeah. It's like her revenge.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sad they didn't mention that in the episode. That would have been really
Yeah.
cool.
For sure.
I mean, the books came later, so.
Fair.
Yeah, yeah. But that would have been really fun, just like
Yeah.
little to tie it back like
Yeah.
full circle.
It makes me really curious about the legacy books.
You know, we
Again.
always say this. We always
Yeah, we
let's do
do.
it, guys. This year we are going to read one of the books and we're going to review it. Let's put that on the universe. I think we have
Yes,
to-
Club.
yes,
We're doing
I
it.
agree. I
Yeah,
also
we're
wanted
doing
to
it.
bring
We're
that
starting
up.
the book club.
Perfect. Stargate Book Club. Excellent. Okay, so with the exceptions of Hallucination Scene and Phantoms, this is the first time a Wraith has appeared on screen since Common Ground, which is an absence of 10 episodes.
What
And it's
the-
the first time since the Cheetah that the Wraith are the main threat of the episode. So that's been a 14 episode absence.
Wow.
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
Yo.
I really, we're not going to get into this, but that's
Yeah.
really frustrating.
Yeah. Another reason why I love this episode, because I'm so glad they brought them back.
Yeah.
In
And they're
a
Also-
scary
way.
again.
Yeah, they're scary and kind of hot.
Yeah.
As always.
Wraith fuckers, I get it.
We've come a long way, I fear.
Yes, we really did.
We've gotten freakier over the years.
We did. I'm so glad.
Yeah, me too.
And one last thing is that the wall lights in the scene where Teyla first tries to connect with the queen are reused gold lights from when Baal tortured Jack in Abyss.
That is so funny. Hold
What a
on.
throwback.
I
Yep.
know, seriously. That's so awesome. Are we doing Fic Corner,
Ooh.
right? Next.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's go.
All right. So for our Fic Rec, we have only one for this episode, but I thought it was quite good. It is called Out of the Sea by Rizal Soran. And it is a genfic from Ronan's point of view. So it's kind of exploring this idea that maybe Ronan is not the biggest fan of enclosed spaces or like close quarters or like confined things. And so how would he feel in this episode being kind of like trapped under so much water in these really narrow hallways and all that stuff. And I thought it was a really fun exploration of his character, really nice Ronan voice, and although it was a genfic, there was a strong focus on his relationship with Zelenka. And I thought the way they connected in the fic was really cool. And I kind of wish that they had more of a chance on the show to hang out more, because we hear like offhandedly they like do things together, but we never really see it. So yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, fun.
That one sounds so good.
Yeah, that's all for me.
Okay, perfect. I think now we gotta do some calculations real quick.
Yeah.
Oh right, true.
What is the poll? Okay. So for the poll this week, from the arc, we have, does Carson make it onto John's top 10 friends list? And with 72% of the votes, we have yes, because John likes Carson. Then we have yes, because Carson is friends with John's friends, which is 23%. And finally, we have no at 5%.
Sorry. I do like the 5% just being like, no. No.
The funniest comment we probably got on a poll ever comes from Wholly Unnecessary, and they said, I need an option for yes by default because John has way fewer than 10 friends.
Wait, that's so fucking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
That is so real.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know what? I know it was like overwhelmingly, 72% yes, but I low-key feel like it wasn't as high as I thought it would be. The 23% saying like yes, just because, Carson is friends with Josh's friends, cracked me the heck up.
Yeah, it's more than I expected, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so funny. Well, I'm glad we put the allegations to bed. I guess they are really friends, according to
Where?
70% of the people. Yeah. Oh,
Sorry.
I was just making like Carson dad joke. Like all the
savage.
I'm really sorry.
It's not funny, but here's the thing: it wouldn't be funny if he stayed dead,
Yeah.
but he's not dead
Yeah.
technically. So I think it is funny. It makes it funny because we know he's coming back.
I don't think I would be joking if he remained dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was like Janet, like no one ever jokes about Janet.
No.
No.
You don't go there.
No.
Carson? He's a clone.
Daniel.
Yeah. Even the show was like, Daniel, what the fuck? Carson. Well, it's a little funny. And on that note, I guess we can go to ratings, although we can just skip me. You can just... I won't take up any more of your time.
I think I agree. This episode is stunning in so many ways. Story-wise, color-wise, lighting-wise, cast-wise, acting-wise, just all across the board. It's fantastic. The way it really hits like the core feeling of Atlantis, or what I don't want to say what Atlantis is trying to do, but like if maybe like yeah, no, I think it's great. The tension was great. The characters was great. The team feeling, the ensemble feeling, all centering around Teyla. I think even like almost all relationships we get are also like involve Teyla, and that is really, really rare. So I think this is definitely a Teyla episode. And also, by the way, this is like what my favorite episodes usually are. It is like everyone is there, but we focus a little bit on one character. So it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, I literally could not complain about anything. Like, even with my most nitpickiest of nitpicky glasses on, it's just too good, guys, in every sense of the word. Technically, script, acting, character work. Yeah, I can't say it's not good, so it's great. And gotta love the nostalgia brings for the return to season 1 vibes. That's the best.
Absolutely. We beat the hater allegations. We do love the show occasionally.
Yeah, I think this episode just makes up for like everything irresponsible and irresistible did in like
I was gonna say,
this
it almost
season.
makes up for season 2. After that, I was gonna say. Almost.
Had it been a 2-parter, yes.
Yeah, seriously. Well, as always, feel free to check out our little description box wherever you're listening to us. And you can find our Jumping Puddles accounts where you can join us to vote on polls and also see when we post episodes. And we also have our personal accounts linked as well, so you can currently see what fandoms we are in.
And you'll have to come back for next time when we do Vengeance.
Ooh.
Oh my god, we're almost done with the show. Almost done with the show. Almost done with the season. Show 2. Don't worry, it's gonna take us another 2 years to finish this show. So
Yep.
we got too much
We'll
time.
be here.
Yeah, we'll be here. Like tied to the chair and forced against our will. We will be here
For season 5.
season 5. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
We will be drunk,
Yes.
but we will be here.
Yep. Yeah.
We will be drinking. Honestly, yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out. We'll discuss season 5 at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Yeah. And on that note, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Bye.
All right, you clowns, listen up. I don't often get a chance to say this, so savor it. Good work, boys and girls. Let's go home.